Now.
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Second time lucky. So my question to you was, it looks like we're talking about 40 billion plus in pounds or euros. It's going to be over a long period of time. It's going to meet some of our ongoing obligations even after we leave. Isn't that a sum worth paying to reach the end game you've always wanted, which is to get out?
Well, the first thing to say is we voted to leave and we want a clean break, not a relationship that could go on for possibly decades, certainly in the case of pensions. And secondly, even if we'd been offered tariff-free access to the single market in return, which at this stage we haven't, but even if we had been offered that, it is not worth nearly 50 billion sterling. No deal is better than a bad deal, and this is a very bad deal indeed.
But how do you know that, since most business is terrified at the idea of no deal, of crashing out? Well, they would rather have a deal.
Look, there are lots of different voices of business, and yes, I understand the big corporates, always defend the European Union structure, but I'm reminded they were the same people that thought joining the euro was a good idea.
They're also the people that provide most of our exports, and they're worried that if we crash out, to use the terminology, that it will harm their ability to export. That's legitimate, is it not?
Look,
doing this will avoid that.
Do you know something? With no deal, and with tariffs being put on British manufacturers, the movement of sterling against the euro every month is bigger than the percentage we'd pay in tariffs. And just look at the amount of business America does, China does with the European Union on World Trade Organization rules. The other big thing here is we keep obsessing about our trade relationship with Europe. Look, 85% of the global economy is outside the Eurozone, and another reason for a very, very clean, quick break is to start opening ourselves up to other trade deals.
Of course. 45% of our exports go to the EU. How much of America's exports go to the EU?
Yeah, these are smaller amounts, but hey, these are growing markets.
Much
and it's
smaller?
Still $300 billion
How much
worth
smaller, Nigel Farage?
$300 billion worth every single year the Americans sell into the European single market without having a trade deal of any kind whatsoever.
It's about $1 in 10, whereas for us it's almost 1 in 2. It's much more important, isn't it, to us?
Well, I tell you what, you could look at this the other way around and say that 80% of the entire British economy is not involved in overseas trade of any kind at all. And yet, if we sign up to a transition deal, we're still going to be bound by the rules for the single market. There are lots of advantages to breaking out of this.
OK, well, just finally, what's happened? None of your Tory Eurosceptic friends are saying anything like this. They seem, by and large, to be content to go along with it. Well, why is that?
Well, they've got their big chance in a few minutes. It's Prime Minister's questions, and I'm hoping somebody on the backbenches stands up and says, we did not vote to pay more money to the European Union. We voted to stop paying money, and that this number is unacceptable to the British public. They've got their chance. All
right. Well, we've already heard from some Eurosceptics like Ian Duncan-Smith, who seem reasonably content, but I'm not one to put people off watching PMQs, so no doubt our viewers will follow your rallying cry. Nigel Farage, thank you very much for joining us from Brussels.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.